Maybe you could help me, Miss Diaz.
Don't try and recruit me to your experiment or whatever this is. I voted to throw you off the ship.
I understand. I was impressed with how far you got, if that's any consolation.
I didn't get anywhere. Every time I tried to correlate a codon to an amino acid, the DNA appeared to change. Like it knew what I was trying to do.
It's not DNA.
I know that. It's HNA. What do you think I spent the last 12 days doing? I haven't slept. And now, looking at you, I'll never sleep.
What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Evolve Stage 2, and I want to talk about Evolve Stage 2 and consoles. It's a big question. I see it happening a lot in the videos that I'm creating. And the first part of this is also going to kind of play into the process of putting a build onto consoles from PC. And so if you're a Warframe fan, kind of going to explain that a little bit here, but I'll also explain it in a Warframe video a little bit better too, as well. There goes my phone. So at this time, obviously it's not available on consoles. Okay. The point of releasing it on Steam is that they're able to quickly create a build and test it and push it, get feedback, fix the issues, add more content, and push it. Okay, and they're able to do that really quickly within the week. Okay, so that's where we're seeing weekly updates come out right now. Part of the Sheer Madness event. The process is fairly easy when it comes to that. So they create it on PC, internal QA process with their team. They push it out to 2K's QA team for testing. 2K's team tests it, make sure everything is all good. It's approved, it's pushed, it's live. All in 1 week. Easy on PC. On consoles, you have to add the first party, which is Microsoft and Sony. Okay, so it makes it a lot more complicated for terms of creating something. If I've got a bug, I can get it fixed right away, type of stuff. So, you know, do you have to wait? Obviously, what's the wait on this? Okay, and the waiting for console certification process is where things get really complicated. So the certification process, when it goes from PCs to consoles, requires a larger QA team, both internally and at 2K, and it has to be a dedicated team for this project, okay, pretty much. And that's the way it works. And so, of course, right now they're testing it here, the feasibility on PC to see, you know, is the game got life in it? Are we going to be able to retain our players? More people coming in, that type of stuff. So they have to make sure that it's going to be successful before they can consider pushing it out to consoles, because of course it's going to require a dedicated group to the project. Okay, so financially they have to make sure they can support the dedicated group that's going to consistently be able to take the updates and get them ready. The certification process, each have their own slightly different, unique process. Okay, Microsoft and Sony. Okay, but basically involves testing the full game title before it gets pushed out. On Xbox One, they call them XRs. On PS4, they call them TCRs. This means that basically your development process now goes to the internal QA for Turtle Rock, then the QA for 2K games, then it goes to Microsoft or Sony for their certification, for their QA, if you will. The certification process can take typically between 3 to 6 weeks for certification. Okay, sometimes if you submit your build and Microsoft or Sony says, hey, there's a problem with it, they push it back at you, and you've got to fix the problem, and then you've got to submit it again, which is where you can really get out to the 6-week time frame, sometimes even longer depending upon what it is. Because of that process, once they move to console, they have to be able to take all the fixes that are made on PC at one time and make a big version and then move it over, which is basically exactly what you see in Warframe. DE creates the PC build, they make all these hotfixes, they get all these things all up and running, it gets to a point where they're happy with the setup. They take all of those things, create a separate build, and submit, go through this whole process, which is why you typically see about a month after it's on PC, it goes to consoles. Maybe even longer depending upon how big the build is. That's the process. It's not able to be changed. That's the way it is. And the length of time is done because of Sony and Microsoft. You really can't change that. Now, you could turn around and be like, hey, listen, we'll hold back our PC build in order to set them closer to the consoles and kind of release them at the same time. And depending upon the type of game, sure, that's fine. But in the free-to-play market, it's not fine. You need to be able to get your retention, you need to be able to keep your players going at all times. And financially, while you're going to make money on consoles, you're going to really make more on PC by that retention. The consoles are developed much better than what they used to be. So instead of the ports going from console to PC, now they're finally able to build properly on PC, have solid builds on PC that can be ported to consoles, so the phase is opposite of each other. So no longer is PC waiting on consoles, consoles are now waiting on PCs, and it's a whole change in the industry, which obviously it is what it is. And so that's why you see many of these developers now, depending upon the content, you're going to see build on PC maybe a month before you see it come out to consoles. And it even goes with the big developers, even EA for that matter. They would push things out on PC before they push them out to consoles. And there's no way around the certification process. Absolutely no way around it. So hopefully that answers that question. They don't have a timeline. Okay, if you want a timeline of when it'll be available, there is no timeline. But they'll share it with us once they've figured it out. Once they say, hey, we know we're going to do it. We know that it's going to be viable. We're going to make it happen. So, what do they consider successful? I talked about this a few times already, but the player base basically needs to stay up. They need people to keep coming back more and more. To help encourage that, they'll have their weekly updates and a lot of exciting new things and events and stuff that are coming out constantly. They can't give exact numbers because that's all confidential based off of what they've come up between 2K and Turtle Rock Studios to say, hey, this is successful. I can't speak. Successful. Wow. I should never try to do this at 3 o'clock in the morning. But, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Successful. There you go. So we don't know what that number is, but I'm hoping that it is successful. And that it does get to consoles, because I think the free-to-play version is just what they're doing with it right now is really, really good so far. The concept is good. Your daily logins are phenomenal. I've gotten two characters and monster within my logins already, on top of the ones that I've also purchased. So that's pretty awesome. Next question would be like, if you bought the game on consoles, can you become a founder on PC? At this time, this is not something that they're able to do. So they're investigating it and trying to figure out whether or not it can be done. But currently, no, you couldn't. You'd have to go and buy one of the founder packs that I think they're like $10 or $15 now. If you look around online, buy one of the new founders packs to be able to become a founder, which basically all that's doing for the most part is unlocking everything right away, and future items will be given to you for free. there's a couple ways you could look at that. Um, they need to make money, obviously, so they're making money by doing that. It's kind of a shot in the face to players that did buy it and that are being considered founders. They're not having that special exclusivity of founders because you can buy these packs now, which is kind of a weird thing, but that's another video. Will the console version be free if they get to release it? Yes, it of course will be free. And you probably have the founder status then on that game on the console if you own that game there. Will they get to play with the devs on the console when they release it? Yep, the dev said yes, absolutely. They will also play on the consoles, you know, streams and all that stuff as well as like on PC. So there'll be that. But again, remember, they have to come up with a dedicated group, so they have to be able to say, yes, we can support this, we know it's going to be successful, and then we'll have a team that's able to do it. So that's where it stands. Right now it's unknown. Let's just hope the PC one stays as good as it is, gets better, more people come, and it is successful that it does release on the console. Because, you know, that would be awesome that everybody has a chance to play this, because I really, really am enjoying this game as it stands right now. Anyway, comments, questions below. I know it took a little bit, 10-15 minutes here, but hopefully it explains everything that's going on between Stage 2 beta and consoles, and hopefully it does explain a little bit to some of the Warframe guys as well, but I will follow up in a Warframe video, because I know that if I don't post it as a Warframe stuff and talk about it, then a lot of people aren't going to ever see it. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys soon.